the day and the Fed decision. Let's bring in our special guest, Amin Mohseni. He's an assistant economics professor at the American University here in Washington, D.C. And Amin, it's good to see you. You're also a macroeconomist with the Atlantic Council, so you should have all the answers for us. What did you think of the Fed decision today?
Thanks, Phillip. I think we have to put some perspective on that number. As you know, as you mentioned, the inflation has been running high at 8.6% CPI. The core inflation has been 6%. That means removing energy and food prices. So the Fed has been trying to bring this inflation under control. It's been running behind the curve. And I think with this hike today, is trying to send a signal to the market that they are serious about curbing inflation. And they have penciled in by the end of 2022, the rates to be at around 3.4%, by the end of 2023 at around 3.8%, and the long run of 2.5% for the federal rates hike.
Right. Help me out here, because not all of
Sure.
our good friends that are watching the big show understand numbers the way perhaps you do, right? Why should they care at all what the Fed does? They can raise it 1%, down 1%. Why does the everyday average person care about this?
Certainly. So the average person, they will feel the impact of these higher rates through several mechanisms. One is, for example, mortgage rates. Mortgage rates is more than 6% this week, up from about around 3% earlier this year. And the mortgage rates are heavily dependent on federal funds rate. On the other hand, also, we can talk about, credits, that the consumers use. The borrowing is going to become more expensive, so people are going to spend less by borrowing. That would mean big ticket items like automobiles or appliances are going to get hit from this rate hike. And also firms are going to hire less because their investment is going to decrease, and that's going to have an impact on number of vacancies available. So for a regular American, they will feel these rate hikes, not immediately, of course, but with the lag of 3 to 6 months.
And help us understand, what is the point of raising rates so high? Because they want to slow the economy down, because we're spending too much
Yes.
money and things are too hot, so they kind of want a recession in a way, don't they?
Not necessarily that they want a recession. They want to make sure that the supply and demand are at equilibrium. Anytime the aggregate demand is larger than aggregate supply, therefore the economy is running too hot, the prices are going to increase. Given the supply chain disruptions that we are seeing globally coming from China's net zero COVID policies, also the supply, the higher commodity prices, oil and food prices because of the Russian-Ukrainian crisis. All of these things have put supply on the lower side, and the demand has been overtaking the supply, and therefore by increasing the rates, the Fed is trying to reduce demand to the level of supply, and this could certainly lead into recession. The risk of recession is higher now than ever.
I mean, look, people are not feeling good right now. Gas prices are high. As you said, mortgage rates are going up. People are starting to worry about their jobs a little bit more. I mean, maybe it's not technically a recession, but it feels like it for a lot of people. Help us understand how these rate increases affect people in Europe or in Asia, or are they insulated from this?
No, they are not insulated. And let me go back to the sentiment that you just mentioned. 82%, that's the latest data, 82% of registered voters in the US, they think we are either in a recession now or a recession is going to happen within a year. And so that feeling by itself can turn into a self-fulfilling prophecy that people are going to cut back spending, start saving more, and therefore bring aggregate demand down, right? And that's going to help, of course, with inflation numbers, but it can also push the economy into recession. Latest numbers from consumer sentiments also is at our historically low levels. They're at the consumer price index. The consumer sentiment index is at 50.2, which is the lowest in its history. And of course, other countries are going to also feel the pressure of increasing the interest rates, because if the US rates are higher than other countries, capital is going to flow from other countries inside the US. So therefore, other economies are also going to feel the pressure of increasing the interest rates to stop or slow down the flow of capital out of their economies. And especially that's going to be very significant for emerging markets.
Okay, so translation, higher rates means less free money for everybody, right? Whether you're in the US, you're in Europe, or in Asia. So we are already talking about the month of July for the Federal Reserve. And they are now expecting another, I think the last number I saw was another 50 basis points. I don't know, they'll probably leak out 75 at some point. What does the Fed, or I guess what data is the Fed looking at? Is it only inflation, or are there other data points that Fed's looking at before they make a final decision for July?
So they do look at inflation. That's the first thing they look at. They look at the labor market conditions, the amount of vacancies available in the labor market, because that's part of their two mandates: full employment and price stability. But they also look at inflation expectations, what people think inflation is going to be a year or 2 years down the road. If they see that inflation expectations is at elevated levels, they have to act more aggressively, because again, when consumers like myself, if I feel that inflation is going to be at elevated levels, if that's my expectation, I'm going to bargain for higher wages. And that higher wages is going to get translated into, again, higher inflation. So therefore, they will look at inflation expectations alongside producer price index, consumer price index.
So, well, hang on. So you're saying that if inflation is higher, all of us here and all of our friends can ask for higher wages. That's what I heard you say.
That is basically, if I feel definitely as a consumer, if I feel that I have to pay more
right.
A year down the road, I will increase my prices as well. And that's what has been happening. That's actually one cause of current inflation is actually wage inflation.
Amin, we got to go. I think you just made a lot of new friends in the control room and in the newsroom here. Thank you very much, Amin Mohseni-Cheraghlou, Assistant Professor of Economics at the American University and also a macroeconomist at the Atlantic Council. Wow, what a detailed breakdown that was. Excellent.